late summer in Colorado, we know it can get hot.
We had another day of 90s and a whole lot more on the way.
But imagine not being able to control the temperature inside your own home.
Normally, when we see a message like that, we're able to override it.
Contact Denver 7 is learning that happened to people all over our state.
Yeah, we had about 22,000 customers.
Tonight, we're digging into why Excel locked in their temps.
When people enroll in these programs, it's a voluntary program.
And why Coloradans may be rethinking a program designed to save them money.
It just doesn't sit right with us to not be able to control our own thermostat in our house.
We are expecting a blistering 95 degrees here tomorrow, and during these dog days of summer, of course, it's so important to keep your home cool.
Well, when thousands of Excel customers in Colorado tried adjusting their thermostats Tuesday, they learned they couldn't. Denver 7 consumer investigator Jacqueline Allen talked with some of those customers. Jacqueline, they're upset they had no control over the temp in their own home.
That's right. And you know, Excel is calling this a rare energy emergency. And yes, they took over tens of thousands of smart thermostats here in Colorado. For the first time, there was nothing homeowners could do about it.
Another hot one today with temperatures in the low 90s.
Even Mike Nelson would tell you Tuesday was a hot one.
The heat goes on.
Which is why Tony Tallarico tried to crank up the AC.
I mean, it was 90 out, and it was right during the peak period.
That's when he found out he had no control of his thermostat. A message from Excel on his thermostat saying temperature locked during an energy emergency.
And normally, when we see a message like that, we're able to override it. In this case, we weren't. So our thermostat was locked in at 78 or 79.
Turns out he's not alone. Excel confirms to Contact Denver 7, 22,000 customers were locked out of their smart thermostats for hours on Tuesday.
It's a voluntary program. Let's remember that this is something that customers choose to be a part of based on the incentives.
Excel VP Emmett Romine says customers enrolled in the Colorado AC Rewards program sign up to get money back, but give up some control for the greater good.
So it helps everybody for people to participate in these programs. It is a bit uncomfortable for a short period of time, but it's very, very helpful.
And it's rare. This is the first time since the 6-year-old program started that customers could not override their smart thermostats. Excel says an unexpected outage in Pueblo, combined with hot weather and heavy AC use, led to the last-minute energy emergency.
To me, an emergency means there is, life, limb, or, some other danger out there, some, massive wildfires.
Tony's all about saving energy with solar panels and smart home systems, but he says he had no idea locked thermostats came with that, and it's not what he signed up for.
Even if it's a once in a blue moon situation, it just doesn't sit right with us to not be able to control our own thermostat in our house.
For the AC Rewards program, customers get a $100 credit for signing up and $25 every year. In exchange, Excel says the customers should be aware they could lose control of their thermostat in an emergency. Tony and many others were not aware, and he is now unenrolling. Ann?
Wow. All right. Thank you, Jacqueline. And it is hot in California, too. Governor Gavin Newsom is warning his state could experience a heat wave it hasn't seen in some time. Temps tomorrow could reach record highs and be 10 to 20 degrees above average. And that heat could put a strain on that state's power grid. And today, officials issued the first statewide flex alert, urging consumers to reduce their energy use in the afternoon and evening hours. A second flex alert will be in place as well tomorrow.
In a court filing today, former President Trump argued that the National Archives should have expected to find classified materials among the 15 boxes turned over from his estate in January because they were presidential records, and it should not, he says, have prompted a search of his residence. The filing, however, did not address the multiple attempts made since he left office to get those materials back, or the Justice Department's claim yesterday that Trump and his legal team may have interfered with this investigation. A hearing is scheduled tomorrow to decide whether to grant Trump's request for an independent monitor to review the materials seized from his home.
And happening right now, Denver Public Schools and the Denver Classroom Teachers Association, they're still talking. The union's current contract expires at midnight. The Classroom Teachers Association is pushing for a 3-year contract with a 12% cost of living increase. They're also asking for step and lane pay raises, which are raises based on experience in education. They also want smaller classroom sizes. The district is offering a 3.5% cost of living increase and step and lane increases. They're also offering a 17.5% pay increase over 3 years if the union accepts the district's offer. Tonight,
we're in
both
fact
sides
very
are
optimistic
confident.
that we'll have a deal tonight. We're going to stay here as long as it takes to get it done, and if we're here till midnight, then we're here till midnight.
So negotiations will continue on. District leaders told us they know learning was lost during COVID and they want to get students back on track. The Denver 7 morning team will be following the talks overnight. They'll have the latest for you beginning tomorrow morning at 4:30 a.m.
Well, change is coming to the top of the Denver Police Department.
The city announced this afternoon that Chief Paul Payson will retire effective October 15th. Payson has been with DPD for nearly 28 years, including the past 4 as chief.
Denver 7's CB Cotton tonight breaks down Payson's challenges and his triumphs.
2 summers ago, Chief Paul Payson marched with protesters as calls for more police accountability echoed across the nation. Now, Payson is moving in a new direction towards the exit door of the Denver Police Department. On Wednesday, it was announced the 28-year department veteran would be retiring from his position as chief, a role he's held for the past 4 years. For many, there was no indication this was coming and no reason given. But in late July, in a one-on-one interview with Denver 7, Payson didn't mince words when speaking out about recent challenges.
We have fewer officers today than we had 15 years ago.
In early August, Denver police told Denver 7 it's nearly 170 officers short. Payson saying the shortages made it difficult to tackle the city's, quote, crime hotspots.
It puts a lot of pressure on the very limited workforce that we have.
There's pressure from the community, too. A grand jury will investigate several Denver officers who opened fire in Lodo back in July, injuring 6 bystanders and a suspect. Then, back in March, a jury awarded $14 million to 12 protesters injured by DPD during summer 2020 demonstrations. Denver, like the rest of the country, is not immune to rising crime rates. Back in late July, Chief Payson spoke to Denver 7 about that too.
We're at 55 murders for the year, which is 10% more than where we were this time last year.
He also pointed a finger back at the state.
We have some state statutes that have changed that have made it easier for drug dealers and car thieves to run around with guns.
Payson has also had his victories. He helped launch the STAR program, which sends mental health professionals to low-level 911 calls instead of uniformed officers. He also helped create a center to connect low-level offenders with resources. It's expected to launch this fall. In Denver, I'm CB Cotton, Denver 7.
And it will be up to Denver City Council to confirm the city's next police chief. In the meantime, Mayor Michael Hancock is nominating Division Chief Ron Thomas to succeed Payson. Thomas will assume day-to-day management of the department as acting chief beginning September 6th.
The 17-year-old girl has a long recovery ahead after she was shot outside a Denver house party early Sunday morning. Angelique, who doesn't want us to use her last name, was one of 4 people shot outside the home along West 42nd Avenue, and one of those people was killed. Now, she says this small party quickly grew and quickly got out of hand. And tonight, because of that bullet, she has a metal rod in her leg and screws to keep her ankle in place.
I'm living with metal parts in me now. I told myself I'll give this party a shot and I'll attend this little kickback, but I did not expect it to turn out like that.
Angelique believes she was targeted in the shooting. Investigators, though, have told her otherwise. In a statement, DPD said investigators are actively working to solve this case by determining the motive for the shooting and identify the suspect or suspects, and all theories, they say, are being investigated. Now, so far, no arrest, and anyone with information should call Crime Stoppers.
A man is now charged with 2 counts of attempted murder for shooting a Denver high school student. Police say Catrell James shot 13-year-old Cameron last Monday as his mother drove him from school. Now, Cameron, who has autism, was hit in the arm, and we talked to his mom last week, and she told us she's worried about the lasting effect this shooting will have on her son.
A lot of things scare him, and now I think he's just going to be scared more. That's my baby. Very scary. And now that I see my car, I'm just thankful that it wasn't worse.
Along with attempted murder, Catrell James is also charged with assault and illegal discharge of a firearm.
3 people rescued from the water after their boat capsized on Chatfield Reservoir. And Air Tracker 7 was overhead as the rescuers responded to this overturned pontoon. South Metro says 3 people were evaluated, rescued, and none needed medical assistance.
The state health department is expanding eligibility for the monkeypox vaccine. This comes as the state opens appointments for people to get their second dose. Now, previously, the vaccine was reserved for men who've had sex with other men, and now anyone who has had close physical contact with someone who's had monkeypox in the past 14 days is eligible. Anyone who's had multiple sex partners in the past 14 days or who had sexual partners they didn't previously know. You can find a complete list of people eligible for the vaccine right now at thedenverchannel.com. And CDPHE reports there have been 222 cases of monkeypox in Colorado since May. 148 of those cases were diagnosed during August.
The Adams County Board of Health will hold a special meeting tomorrow afternoon to appoint a first-ever public health executive director. And that person then will be responsible for day-to-day management and operations of this newly formed Adams County Health Department. The health department was formed following the breakup of Tri-County Health last year, and tomorrow's special meeting is 3 p.m.
Complaints over airlines growing.
Frontier Airlines was routinely not giving people credits they were entitled to. We got over 600 complaints.
Who Colorado's Attorney General says needs to get tougher on the industry.
Plus, welcome back to the Broncos, who the team is bringing back for the practice squad.